It wouldn't have been the likes of me or you that were allowed in here before. This building was built for the local bigwigs. Obviously there's a big change from when it was expecting World War III, but it's probably going to be occupied by the same sort of people.
Across London, a perfect replica of the Chislehurst bunker lies hidden in woods in Mill Hill, now the last of London's 4 early 1950s war rooms to survive in its original form. It's being investigated by English Heritage as part of an ongoing national survey to identify Cold War structures which should be preserved as monuments of national historic importance.
This very stark structure is very good at symbolising the awesome power of atomic weapons which the country might have been attacked with during the 1950s and right through to the 1990s. And now we imagine that these threats have gone away. We do feel it is important for people to be aware of these structures and actually to visit them and just consider what might have been.
But the atom bomb soon proved an outdated threat. By the mid-1950s, the Soviet Union possessed a new and vastly more powerful weapon, the hydrogen bomb. At ground zero, an average-sized bomb would have gouged a huge crater from the Earth 100 feet deep and a mile wide. If targeted, central London, including the Marsham Street bunkers, would have been vaporized. The blast zone would extend far beyond that of an atom bomb. London's regional war rooms, previously safe 8 miles out, would have been pulverized. Yet despite this horrific scenario, the government still made plans to survive an H-bomb attack. 20 miles into the Essex countryside, beneath an ordinary-looking bungalow near Kelvedon Hatch, a massive underground bunker was secretly equipped to govern whatever remained of London. Maintained for possible use until the early 1990s, the bunker has since been sold back to the landowners and is now a museum.
The government approached my grandfather, and under the threat of compulsory purchase they took from us the 25-acre field in the middle of our farm. They bulldozed the top of the hill that was there all around the outside edge of the field. They put armed RAF guards on top of that to stop anybody looking over, and they proceeded to build the bunker. The bunker is equipped to hold people down here for about 3 months. We've got enough water supply for that, we'd have had enough food in here for that, and the generator fuel is enough to run for that. The air conditioning would obviously keep the air churned round, the filters, we've got enough of those to be able to filter the dust, the radioactive dust out. It was originally built for about 600 people. Not many people to govern quite a large area, but I suppose there wouldn't have been many people to govern, so it wouldn't have mattered too much. Once the first bomb had gone off, the regional commissioner here would have been the man who would have been in charge of this area. The commissioner's powers would have been absolutely total. He would have the power of life and death. He would be able to sort any marauding gang out by sending off the police or the army to ultimately kill them. His whole duty down here was to the greater population, not just to any individual or group of individuals who were trying to break in here or take over the power of government. The BBC radio studio was down here so that the Commissioner, or indeed the Prime Minister or somebody important, if they'd come down here, could have broadcast to the nation to tell us what was happening.
The government has decided that in the present state of international tension, you should be told how best to protect yourselves from the dangerous effects of nuclear attack. Using sacks or sandbags, which should be about 2/3 filled, you can block the windows from the outside. Alternatively, you can fill boxes or other containers with tightly packed earth.
The bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima was a mere 20 kiloton, and I don't think people realised the awesomeness once the hydrogen bomb was invented, which would have produced something that would have been 500 times greater than the bomb on Hiroshima.
If you are caught in the open by the attack, fling yourself on the ground instantly, wherever you are.
You would first of all get the flash of light, which would blind you, followed by the heat that would evaporate you or burn you very severely, and that would be followed by winds of up to 700 miles an hour, which would obviously do quite a lot of damage.
If you are at home or visiting, move instantly away from open windows or doors and take cover behind the nearest solid protection.
You would then be faced with 5 days of lethal radiation that would kill you almost immediately. After that, though, it does begin to get a little bit better. You still die, of course, it just takes you a little bit longer.
There are several simple kinds of shelter core you could make. Here, 2 doors are leaned against the wall, leaving a space in which the householder and his family can sit.
You were meant to take your passport and your bank books with you, not because when you came up there would be any banks, but of course it was a way of identifying you if they needed to identify you later on. Cynics would say that all the stuff you put on top of you was designed to cremate you, so they didn't actually have to worry about clearing you up afterwards.
The United Kingdom Warning and Monitoring Organization, with all its highly trained resources, is spread like chainmail over the entire country. Break one link, break many links. The overall organization can still be kept operative.
Built on high ground so as to overlook London and other potential targets, the government's UK Warning and Monitoring Organisation maintained a network of over 1,500 observation posts throughout the country from the late 1950s onwards. At posts like this one on the North Downs in Kent, Royal Observer Corps volunteers would have reported to headquarters details of a nuclear strike on London. On the front line of the government's nuclear war survival plan, Alan White was former chief observer here until the post was closed down at the end of the Cold War in the early 1990s. He's returning for a nostalgic visit with businessman Mark Ormiston, who subsequently bought the post from the government.
Well, here we are there, Alan. You see?
It's just like we left it, isn't it? See, you've got quite a lot of instruments.